What's good, all two of y'all? Let me go clean that off. Need one of them lint rollers. All right, so I want to talk about how to defend an honorary degree, okay? But I need to get some more in here, so share this live. Before we get started, this would be some very useful information, all right? Very useful, especially if you hold an honorary degree, okay? So if you went to school or went somewhere and they issued you an honorary degree, this will be helpful in defending that degree, okay? Because you got a lot of people who say, oh, that degree isn't worth the paper it's printed on, and you want some type of defense against that, so you can, because obviously you got it for a reason, right? You got a ministry or something, or you want to advance in a certain career, and you want to be able to articulate your reason for having this degree, honorary or not. So share this live. I'm gonna get set, I'm gonna get my notes ready, and we're gonna jump into it. All right. I think they done shadow ban my channel, because typically when I first get started, we get a lot of viewers jumping in almost immediately, even if they dwindle down a little bit. But now it's hard. It's hard. So I must be doing something right if they feel like they need to band my reach, or put a cap on my organic reach, because I'm not about to pay for views. So I'm just gonna have to go harder, right? Man, I need to go find that lint roller because I hate this. But yeah, share. I'm gonna get a couple more people in here. All right. So the three, I'm gonna give you the foundation of the conversation. The 3 steps to defending an honorary degree is first acknowledging that it's an honorary degree. You don't want to fake your degree. You don't want to have Dr. such and such in your name and as if you went through the full, got a master's, went back, did a dissertation, and did the 7 years, had to defend your dissertation and everything, and a committee signed off on your dissertation and your the new level of information that you provided to a certain field. You know, you don't want to pretend that that was the case. So the first step is to acknowledging that, hey, this is an honorary degree that I hold. The second step is to have first mastered something. All right, no matter what it is, first mastered something before you took on defending this honorary degree. And then the third step would be commit to progress in perpetuity. Okay, commit to always growing in this certain field that you got this honorary degree in. Okay, so those are the 3 steps to defending your honorary degree. But we're gonna dive deeper into that right here. Okay, so first, like I said, acknowledging that it's honorary. How do you even get an honorary degree? Well, they got seminary schools, certain colleges that you do certain things and they'll just issue it to you. Okay. So I know certain bishops, or if you get ordained a minister in a certain church, they'll automatically issue you an honorary degree of some sort. You know what I mean? And online, there's online churches where you could go and they'll send you paperwork. Some of them, you could take a test and then they'll send you an honorary degree. Some, you don't even have to take a test. You just pay and then they'll send you an honorary degree. Okay. And so this causes confusion. This causes turmoil because, like I said, people go to school up to 7 years and sometimes longer to get a doctorate. Okay. For them to have doctor in the front of their name. Outside of actually becoming a medical doctor and knowing about health and all the levels of studies to be called an MD or medical doctor, you know, excuse me, a doctorate is a lot of work. Okay, so anyone with a doctor in front of their name, if they didn't do the work, those who did the work are going to be pissed. They're like, they're going to call you out. Like, you're a phony. What are you doing? You didn't take, you didn't do the proper steps. There are no shortcuts, right? And so you're going to have to defend that. You're going to absolutely have to defend that, all right? So I'm going to get some more people in here before I go any further, all right? So share. Or no, like, share, sub. Oh. Honoris Causa. That's the Latin for, what is it? For the sake of honor. Honoris Causa. Latin for the sake of honor. So when someone officially writes their name or has their name on a document and they have an honorary degree, usually has that afterwards in italic, Honoris Causa, okay, or HC. And then it tells that person that this is an honorary degree, Yeah. But like I said, we're talking about how to defend it. So if you have one and you want to defend yours, okay, that's what we're about to talk about. We're going to get all into it. All right. So, oh, sure. So there's a branch of church or churches that call themselves apologetics. And apologetics are the group that defend the faith, defend the church, right? And if anyone is a part of a church, it's automatically supposed to be their job to defend the church. Just like if you work for a company and you actually are an officer of the company or an agent for the company, it's your job to defend the company, okay? So if you call like someone who takes pride in being an American, it should be their job to defend America, all right? Or whatever part of that state you're in, it should be your job to defend your state. Now, I'm not talking about like military style, okay? But like with your actions, right? Like the things you decide to do should be in the best interest of your state, in the best interest of your countrymen, all right? If you're a family guy, your decision should be in the best interest of your family, all right? So in that same sense, if you have a degree in a certain field, you don't want to make that field look bad. So your decisions in that field should be in the best interest of that field, all right? Your actions should defend that field. So if we're talking ministry, okay, you should be automatically an apologetic. You should be defending the faith. Peter 3:15, he says, but sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready to always give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you, with meekness and fear. So Peter's saying, always be ready to defend your cause, to defend the faith. All right. And so always be ready to defend your cause. All right. So when we're talking an honorary degree, you got to be ready to defend that degree. All right. If that's what you choose to do. If you choose to rock that honorary degree, you better be ready, because they coming for you. Ooh, they coming. Like, boy, if you don't get that piece of paper, blah, 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 yeah, they're going to go in, right? So you got to be ready. Like I said, it starts with honoring or acknowledging the fact that it's honorary. Like, look, in your name, if you call yourself doctor, it should say honorary first. The honorary Dr. such and such, you know? Just like a judge says the honorable Judge such and such, yours should be the honorary Dr. such and such, and should not be embarrassed to say it's honorary, because of what you know, right? All right, so we're gonna move on to mastering something. All right, we're gonna move on to mastering something. So mastering something could be mastering something negative. Now, hear me out. If you master, okay, someone's fat or lazy, like I've mastered being fat, I've mastered being lazy, and that gave me the encouragement to do something about it, because I mastered that. I saw what it did for me, and it did nothing, okay? So by me mastering this negative area, it was time for me to grow, right? So like roller skating. I used to go roller skating a lot as a child. I was all right. I wasn't that good. And then in my adult life, I started roller skating, and I lost over 100 pounds taking my son roller skating. And during so, I had to master falling, okay? I had to literally master falling, so I didn't hurt myself or break something. So every time I fell, I got better at getting up, right? Literally, every time I fell, I got better at falling and getting up, right? So that negative was shifted to a positive because I mastered falling. Me mastering falling got me better at getting up, all right? So in that same sense, we have to master something that normally is negative so it can lead to a positive. So like master being a loser, like master being stupid or master being ignorant, you know, so that that can lead to getting better. Like, look, I mastered skipping class and it did nothing for me. So I had to start hitting them books, right? Oh, I mastered slutting myself off. It got me nowhere. Thank God it didn't get me burned. You know what I'm saying? Those type of things. You got to master the negative and it's going to lead you to the positive, right? And so like when mastering falling in roller skating, the floor was the teacher. Bam, hitting that floor. The time spent skating, bam, hitting that floor and getting up. The floor was the teacher. Okay? Not me, not the person that I was with, not the instructor, the instructor. That wasn't the teacher. The experience, me busting my butt. That hurt. I don't want to do that no more. Me learning from that floor. That floor was the teacher. We call it floor tax. When you're skating and you feel like, oh yeah, you gotta pay that floor tax, bucko. Ooh wee. Oh yeah, the bigger you are, the harder you fall. Yes, sir. So, but after so long, you start paying that floor tax, that refund is nice. Ooh. After a year paying that floor tax, ooh wee, I didn't have to pay it no more. I got so good that the refund from paying that floor tax was immaculate. I barely fail. I can't remember the last time I fell, you know? And so I mastered falling, and that helped me master getting up, okay? So in that same sense, we need to master something before we go on and move on. And this is the reason. In a doctrine, before you enter into a doctrine or get your doctorate degree, you need to have a master's degree, okay? It's suggested that you have your master's, okay? And so with that master's degree, you move on to dissertation, to get your doctorate, all right? So they want you to have mastered something before you get your doctorate, all right? And anyone who has one knows this, right? Oh. So you use that master's degree or that field you mastered, whether it's failure, right? And that's going to lead you to this journey of your doctorate. Okay. What is a doctorate? A doctorate is your PhD, right? It is your philosophy degree in a certain area, right? So, phil is love, and Sophie is wisdom. So, philosophy is love of wisdom, right? So, when someone says philosophy or PhD, it's your love of wisdom in an area, right? So, if you got a PhD in mechanics, that's your love of wisdom in mechanics. PhD in philosophy, then that's your love of wisdom in wisdom, your love for philosophy, right? So yeah, that's your PhD. So if you've got a PhD in biblical studies, that's your love of wisdom in biblical studies, right? Okay. So if you want that, you have to complete a dissertation. And this is where the beef comes in. This is where your legitimate PhD holders who went to academy or did the work. They went through some sort of associate's, bachelor's, master's. After obtaining that master's, went to, after grad school to go and obtain this PhD. This is where they have the problem, because they don't want to be in the same field with someone who's shortcut. Now, we're talking about defending. If your PhD, if you got a doctor of divinity, that is your love of wisdom in divinity, okay? Your love of wisdom in things divine. Now, I believe that because the Universal Life Church, the one they have now, the one with Chancellor Friedman, they offer Doctor of Divinity and Doctor of Metaphysics. Now, one might rebuke me for saying this, but those 2 degrees, I believe you should be able to get honorarily and defend, okay? Only because metaphysics, the things that aren't seen, okay, and divinity, which is Jesus is divine, you should be able to love, you should be able to love Jesus, love the things that's divine, and not have paid a bunch of money to follow that, okay? Follow that road and progress in that road. Also, metaphysics. You should be able to be an autodidact in metaphysics and hold that degree, all right? And so you just have to defend those 2. Now, all the other degrees, like if you're talking like law and business and certain studies, yes, I would say go to school, go to an accredited establishment, because if you're gonna, let's say even a medical doctor, my health is in your hands. If I'm having health issues and I'm going to see a physician about my health, I want them to have the best education in that field, okay? If you're a pilot and you're flying an airplane, I want that airplane to be flown by a professional, someone who passed all of the requisites, or the prerequisites for that position, okay? If you're flying me. Also, the engineers who built that plane, I would want them to have the proper education and passed all the prerequisites to have built that plane, okay? And so in those fields where someone's life is in your hands, like, to that extent, yes, do all the necessary work, pass the necessary tests, have the necessary authority sign off, all of that. But when it comes to God and the things not seen, I believe God should be the only one who ordained that mission, okay? God himself, the vine himself, should be the only one, all right? So, John, let's see, the book of John 15, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. John 15, it leads with, I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Okay. Further down it says on 4, abide in me and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye, except ye abide in me. Okay. So Jesus is the vine. Okay. So if someone's claiming to be divine, they got to understand Jesus, right? So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, right? The Word became flesh, and it dwelled among us and everything. Words don't lose their spirit, okay? No matter how you use them, they do not lose their spirit, right? So even prefixes. So DE, day, DE is an active word. So when you say divine, you're activating divine, just like de-thaw, okay? Anything DE, that D is an activating word, right? So when it says divine, you got to understand divine and that you're activating it. And just like dis, D-I-S, that prefix is a moving word. It means something's being moved. Displace, discover, all right? Dismount, it's moving, right? So that's important. You understand that the words, when used, they never lose their frequency. Well, no matter what, no matter how you use them, right? Okay, so going back to divine and divinity is about understanding divine, right? Right. So if someone has a master's in divinity, you want to be able to defend that divinity. Like Jesus is divine. You learn all there is to know about Jesus. Understanding the difference between theology and biblical studies, because they're not the same. They're not. Biblical studies, they just study the Bible. That doesn't mean you know God or understand the God of the Bible. That just means you know this book. Yep, I understand the Bible. I understand the 66 books divided into 2 testaments. You got your Old Testament, you got your New Testament, you got your 39 books, and you got your 27 books. You got your Apocrypha that was not included because that'll give you 80 books, you know. You got your Patriarch, you know, the Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, who was renamed Israel. You know, there's people who know the Bible but don't know God, right? So just because someone has a degree in biblical studies or a degree in theology does not mean that they know God, does not mean that they know divinity, right? So if someone has an honorary degree, then they're going to have to prove that they know not only the Bible, but they know and can articulate divinity, right? So you're going to have to stand on that. You have to know, like, look, I know the Spirit. I know the Spirit that lives in this book that comes out and just grabs you and twists your heart and changes it and washes you, makes you a new you, okay? That is huge to defending your degree honorarily, all right? Next point. Commit to progress and perpetuity, right? So if I have an honorary degree in divinity, okay, I've mastered being a failure, and therefore I sought Jesus. And now my life becomes an eternal dissertation. Say that again. I've mastered being a failure, so I gave my life to Jesus, and then now my life becomes an eternal dissertation. So I'll spend that life defending my dissertation defense, okay? And then Jesus will be the one to approve on my master's degree in the afterlife, okay? So my eternal dissertation, my whole life of salvation, my walk with God, my walk and learning his word, teaching his disciples, Matthew 28, 19, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, right? That whole process is in my dissertation defense, my apologetics, my defending, my always ready to give a reason for my faith with meekness and fear, per Peter 3:15, okay? And so you got to walk that walk, like I said, let them know, hey, this is an honorary degree. I couldn't afford to go to school. I couldn't afford to go to some high college and attain the master's degree and then go over and pay for biblical studies and theology. But I read, and I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed, and I let the Spirit work, and the Spirit showed me what there is to know, okay? So, and that lifelong commitment in perpetuity. I said, oh, I want to commit. I want to commit my life to this. I want to commit, okay? Whatever work I do, I want to work for the Lord. Put God first. And let God lead me to the next job, the next task, okay? So that is how you defend your honorary degree if you got one, right? You acknowledge that it's honorary. You master something, and you commit to the progress of that field in perpetuity, okay? And you always ready to defend your faith, to defend your degrees, with meekness and fear.